Hey everybody, it is Becky, Will, and John here, ready to talk with you again about your digital advertising and all other aspects of your business when it comes to being online. Something that I think is really becoming mainstream right now is e-commerce, right? Everybody's been selling products that are their own, products that are made by someone else for many, many years, right? Whether it's in store, as the internet came on, people started selling their homemade products on places like Etsy. And then suddenly we're in a world where pretty much everybody who has a product for sale knows that they have to have some sort of presence online when it comes to digital advertising, whether that is a product that they've made themselves and are selling exclusively, or a product that they're selling in their store that's made by someone else. And now they realize, hey, I need to sell this online too. Or if it's someone that's a drop shipper that's selling a product that, they're just getting credit for that sale on. So, there are a lot of questions that we get on a daily basis about getting into e-commerce, whether that is from an existing business that's looking to branch out, a brand new business that a person's just launched with their own product, or someone that's looking to get into the drop shipping space. So we wanted to come on today and answer some questions that you might have been thinking about what you need to do when it comes to starting an e-commerce business. Where do you start? What's the best place to advertise? What kind of campaigns should you use? John and Will are two of the best guys to answer those questions. So John, why don't you kind of start us off and talk a little bit about some of the clients that we do have in the e-commerce space.
Yeah, so I would say first thing, even though I'm an ads guy, is don't think about ads necessarily day one, because ads, advertising, it's fuel for the fire for something that works well. You can take something that is compelling to people, you can pour fuel in that fire and get more sales and scale things. You can also use ads to kind of test and see, okay, how do people respond to this price point, this offer versus that one, etc. But ads are not the magic bullet. You need to have a really good, compelling product that you're selling that people care about and are interested in, and that's priced competitively and has a competitive value proposition before you should start investing lots of money into advertising. Because advertising it can get people in front of your offer, in front of your product, but it can't make them actually want it. And if you're not priced competitively, it doesn't make them necessarily want to spend more for your product than other people. So the first place I would start is say, do a lot of competitive research, understand, okay, how does your product that you're selling compare to what people can find out there, similar? Do you have competitive prices? Do you have good descriptions? Do you have anything unique about your product, how you can describe it, having video of your product, better images, more helpful descriptions, white glove service to help people, pick the right version of the product for them? What are you bringing to the table that will make someone want to purchase from your site as opposed to going to Amazon and purchasing from a place they already trust or some other more established brand and website out there? And those are some of the big things that you would need to solve with any early e-commerce website, because you just don't have credibility, you don't have reviews, etc. And then you should also be laser focused on, in those early orders that you're driving, how am I making sure I'm giving a fantastic customer experience so I can get as many positive reviews as possible quickly to start building that credibility, which will then snowball once you're running ads. And obviously making sure that you're giving a great customer experience, all that good stuff. So I would say start with the actual product, offer, and experience before you start throwing much money into ads. Then, once you've done that work and you say, hey, here's a legitimate reason for why people would want to purchase from me as opposed to competitors, that's where we can start talking about ads and how to most cost effectively reach people and test different platforms. Will, I'm curious to get your thoughts, as you think about, hey, it's a new e-commerce advertiser. There's a lot of places that you can spend money online. You've got Google, many different campaign types on Google. You've got Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Quora, Twitter, fill in the blank. There's so many places you can spend money to advertise your products. What kind of framework would you give people as they think about maybe where they should initially dip their toes into the advertising waters, so to speak?
So Google Ads is definitely going to be probably the easiest place for you to make that immediate ROI, just because you've got people that are actively searching. As you continue to build credibility, as you continue to make a name for yourself and your garnering brand awareness, things like that. Depending on the vertical, depending on the type of product or products that you're selling, it's going to be good to experiment, because for certain verticals, Meta, Facebook, or Instagram in particular, just performs much better than Google. And again, maybe that's a style of clothing that you're selling, or certain products that benefit a lot from that social engagement that you get from Meta, as well as with some of the targeting options there. But I typically recommend Google in order to capture some of that initial low-hanging fruit and maximizing your efforts there as a way to get the most bang for your buck initially.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're watching this and you want a little more of a deep dive specifically into Meta ads versus Google ads, we did another video recently about that you can go check out for, lots of specific examples of different types of businesses that might want to start on one channel versus the other channel.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate here, because we all love Google. That's what we're really good at. We can make people grow there, but sometimes there are products that people don't even know to search for, right? So I think that that's something you really have to think about whenever you're bringing your product to the market. It may be something that somebody doesn't even know exists, like a custom closet design app that you can use, or a blinged out defense device for women. We have a recent client that we're working with that makes these really cool devices, but I am a mother of a teenage daughter, and I would have never thought to search for it. So when you have that kind of really elite product that maybe people don't know exist, I would, on the other hand, say maybe you start with YouTube and as much video as you can on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to get people aware that your product exists. Of course, you still want it to be there on shopping so that when people do search, they find you. But I really think that coming to a digital agency with really great video and creative is something that is a big difference maker, because we're really great at making your creative work, but we don't do creative here. And that's got to be the first thought before you come to an agency that's going to help you grow on the advertising side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. For someone who's new to the advertising space, e-commerce space, when we say Google too, that could mean a bunch of different things to you, or different things to us than to you, because there are so many different aspects of Google. So could you kind of walk through, for a newbie, what are the different ways within Google that you can reach people, and how would you kind of rank the different types of campaigns that you could run in terms of most likely ROI initially versus least likely ROI?
So typically what we're most familiar with, or what you may be most familiar with when you think of Google, is just the search engine itself. You're going to Google something, and those results that come up on the search engine results page, primarily text. There'll be some images on the side. If you're looking for a local business, you might see a highlighted graphic there connected to Google Maps, for instance. But it's all mainly text. There's some sponsored listings probably at the top or near the middle or bottom of that with layered in organics. That is one that I probably wouldn't recommend starting out with for e-commerce products. There is a specific campaign type, or I say there's actually multiple campaign types that leverage this, but Google Shopping is a platform on Google where you may be used to, when you search for something, you see the bar at the top, you click on that, and then a whole bunch of other listings come out for whatever type of product that you're looking for. That's the Google Shopping platform, and you can leverage standard shopping campaigns, performance max campaigns, as well as others that connect to that to actually drive people directly to your product, your product listing, your product page where they can purchase those. Utilizing that is probably going to be the easiest way to get a positive ROI on Google specifically, but there are other campaign types that you would want to leverage sooner rather than later, depending on the vertical, like Becky said, including YouTube or discovery now that's been transitioned to demand generation, they're not bottom funnel targeting. You're not looking for people that are actively searching for it, but they're more mid funnel. And so you're wanting to get in front of people that are interested in the types of things that you're looking for based on the audience that they're in, things that they've searched for in the past, those types of things.
If you're watching this and you've been doing research, you probably have come across Performance Max, that name that Will just mentioned there, which is a hot topic these days. And what I would say there, we create a lot of videos about Performance Max and different aspects of it you can go check out. But kind of at a high level, if you're a brand new or very new e-commerce business and you're just starting Google advertising, Most of the time these days, we won't start you with Performance Max campaigns. We'll start you with those standard shopping campaigns that Will mentioned, where you are specifically showing the product listing ads that come up when you type something into Google and you see an image, you see a title of a product and a price, etc. The reason we do that is because with Performance Max campaigns, they run those types of ads, but they also run those text ads, they run image ads, they run video ads. And generally what we see is that those Performance Max campaigns don't do well until they have a lot of conversion data built up in the account to help Google understand what people are actually converting on your website. So when you're brand new, without that data in your Google Ads account, you often will end up, again, there's always exceptions to every rule, which is why I try to caveat everything I say. There's nuances everywhere. But most of the time, you will end up wasting a lot of money because Google doesn't know who to serve your ads to, and so they show them to a bunch of people who don't convert. Whereas if you start with shopping, you have more control, generally better ROI initially, and then you can build up some of that conversion data that will then inform Performance Max campaigns that can help you scale down the road. To build upon, Will, what you just mentioned there, from if you're kind of looking at it from a funnel perspective, the bottom of the funnel in terms of the lowest hanging fruit that you can capture is usually going to be standard shopping campaigns, search campaigns, depending on what types of keywords you're targeting and what space you're in. And then above that, Performance Max campaigns, I'd say, again, with that caveat of you need to have conversion data in the account generally before you want to start going after that type of campaign. And then above that, I would probably say YouTube campaigns. There's different types of YouTube campaigns that you can run, but kind of generally YouTube campaigns, and to some extent parallel with that, maybe one step higher, demand gen campaigns, which are a somewhat newer type of campaign and kind of parallel to a lot of Facebook campaigns you might run in terms of how they're created and how you think about them, but they're showing through Google's display network and Gmail and YouTube and so forth. And then it's not so much campaign type as a strategy, but remarketing. So remarketing to people who have been to your website already and trying to bring them back to make a sale. That is a very, I would call it, low-hanging approach because those are super warm people you can bring back. And generally, you're going to leverage those types of ads across YouTube, across Google's display network, across other platforms like Facebook and Instagram and so forth. And also you can layer it onto some search and shopping campaigns with some advanced strategies there. So that's not as much a campaign type as it is a type of audience that you can target across a variety of campaign types. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you're new and you're thinking about where should I start, hopefully that kind of helps point you in the right direction. Becky, are there any other kind of common questions that you hear coming up when new businesses reach out to Stub Group looking for our help with managing their ads that you think we should cover here today?
Yeah, the only other thing that I wanted to mention is a lot of times these new e-commerce businesses, they want to start running ads because they need to try to start making business or making money for their business, and they don't have a ton of content. And so one thing that we've helped a lot of new e-commerce businesses do is we figured out a lower cost way to use influencer marketing to help them get some of that content out there. So that's one thing that I think is going to be super beneficial if you're trying to decide what I can't afford to pay an agency to make me a bunch of videos or do a bunch of creative for me, but I need content to share. Where should I go? And I think that is probably the best bet when it comes to the biggest bang for your buck across the boards, is investing in a little bit of that influencer marketing to help you promote your brand. John, I know you can expand on that a little bit more and how we've used that as well.
Yeah, like you said, we've got access to some creative approaches and networks and things where we're able to get really compelling video creative, for example, that we can leverage across YouTube and Facebook and so forth for very cost-effective means where you're not going out and spending $10,000 for a professional video shoot. Mm-hmm. And this video is probably going to perform better and look more authentic and useful than that $10,000 shoot anyway. So that's a method that we use for a lot of clients right now and have seen a lot of success. Yeah, if you are new and again want to figure out, hey, how do I make this business work? How do I sell products and scale effectively? A lot of different approaches, and at the end of the day, it's nuanced enough that we would love to have a conversation with you and learn specifically where you're at, what product you have, what market you're in, and then we can tailor much better recommendations and approaches to you than just kind of the overall best practices that we cover in this type of a video. So feel free to reach out through stubgroup.com. We'd love to chat and see how we can help. And if this is interesting content to you, please tap that button to subscribe to our channel, so you'll see lots more content just like this. Until next time, John, Will, and Becky signing off.